I'm leaving evidence. I'm being a witness, and I'm leaving evidence of my time, of who I was, of the people around me, of my culture, my country, the world. I was involved with 10,000 Maniacs for 12 years, so it's hard to not ask, what happened? Why did you leave? I wanted to have a more solid vision, a more private vision, more, singular vision. Along about the summer of last year, I decided I was ready to start working with some musicians. Peter, the drummer, was the first person I started working with, and we'd been friends for, I think, 2 years already. And then this young woman, Jennifer Turner, showed up like a cyclone one day. This crazy girl who had only been playing electric guitar for a year and only playing acoustic guitar for, I think, 4 years. And then the bass player, Barry McGuire, came up and played with us a couple days, and I liked working with him. So it was a really good group of people, and that was the group of people that played on the record. I hired a new manager, lawyer, accountant, all those, people that are necessary. And in addition to all those changes that were going on, I decided to buy a house, which I'd always been a renter, so that was a big change. And when I bought the house, I sort of had this fantasy in mind of having a studio and a rehearsal space and enough bedrooms and floor space to put a whole band and have a band work together and live together. And so that's what we did. So it was more like having a house full of teenagers at times. I don't want to go into it. Some people didn't ever think of basic things like rinsing dishes. I had a thing about wet towels on wooden floors and those sort of things. I think basically we made it through.
Where are you tonight, first of all?
From Hearst College.
I think Natalie had this idea to do this thing that, like so many artists I know, are always, well, before we make the album, let's go try the songs out in front of an audience so we can learn more about, are they communicating, but she's the person who actually did it.
So what are you doing in here?
We're getting ready to kill the house lights from back in here.
So we sort of chose about 12 colleges as kind of a control group to find out what the material was like.
Love it, why?
Really sounded solid, really good. Well, Bearsville sounded good, believe it or not, but this sounded, just 10 times better.
Why don't you interview some of those youngins? The real important thing is I tend to leave the lyric writing to the last minute, and it was humiliating to sing gibberish in front of a couple thousand people a night. There were only a few songs that weren't finished, but it was enough that it kicked me in the butt, made me go home and start finishing lyrics, but then I ended up, 2 of the songs weren't finished until the last day of mixing. The tour that we did of the colleges was in November, and then the 1st of December we started recording. I wanted to work at Woodstock. I'd made a record there before, and it's a great place to work. I couldn't imagine making an album in an urban setting. I could mix a record in the city, but I can't sing in the city. I was trying to avoid all the pitfalls that I've seen other artists fall into when they leave a band that they've been with for years. I didn't want to have, 20 African drummers and a string quartet and a horn section. Here's my opportunity to have the biggest production I could ever imagine. Not the songs sounding retro, but I wanted the actual sounds to sound like this record was made in the late 60s, early 70s.
Saturday afternoon romance.
So we chose a lot of the equipment that we used was vintage equipment.
Between a cowboy and a fool.
A lot of the microphones that we used were very old. I sang through a ribbon microphone that was from the 50s at one point. To be playing the piano and singing, there's a connection there that you can't imitate that when you try to go in and overdub. So even though I didn't enunciate things as well as I might have if I went in and tried to sing it perfectly, I left it. Carnival is just, I think, a way for me to express my view of the city and the urban scape and how illogical this place is and how actually insane it is that you have 8 million people living on an island, I don't know how many square miles, with people all stacked up on top of each other and everything having to be brought in through tunnels and over bridges. It's not a very logical way to live. I think most people in our culture in America receive their poetry through music and mostly pop music. There was a period of time when I tried to belittle what I did, and it's only pop music and it's not serious art or anything like that, and I try not to get too serious about it, but it's definitely important and it affects people, and the only thing that I've tried to maintain is a level of craft in what I do, and because if someone is going to listen to my record enough that they're going to memorize the lyrics, I want them to be lyrics that are worthwhile. I would think that 50 years from now, if someone listens to Carnival, they might hear something in it that would tell them what it was like to be who I am in the place that I'm living now. I think it's an incredible privilege to be able to be an artist and to be able to make a living. I feel like I'm in a really tiny percentile of people who are able to do a job not only that they enjoy, but that they couldn't imagine doing anything else, which is where I am now. And I think the ability to choose the people that I work with and when I work and how I work just puts me into an even tinier percentile. I just feel really blessed, really lucky.